A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook, starting off with EURUSD. So EURUSD at the moment is starting to break in towards the downside, or pretty much as of this morning. If we dive in towards the 4-hour, what we can see is that we reacted to this area of supply over here. We did in fact see kind of like a higher sustained push in towards the upside. However, all we pretty much did was pull back in towards this buy before the sell candle over there. We continued with a fractal structure break on this high. So this was our fractal low. So if the market really wanted to push up higher, this kind of sell before the buy should have made price push up higher in towards the upside. What has now happened is that we've seen a shift in the overall fractal structure. So a break of this low over here, indicating bearish momentum from this area of supply. So at the moment, the overall internal structure, so internal structure is from this high over here in towards this low. So just for clarification, we get an impulse down, we get a pullback, we get an impulse down, we get a push up, internal break of structure over here, looking for longs from that moment. No real bullish confirmation. As we can see, we reject supply and we just continue in towards the downside and see another internal break of structure. After that, we get a pullback in towards the upside, waiting for the overall shift in fractal structure. Guys, this is why I do not like entering the market very, very early on euro dollar without those 4-hour shifts. We never broke this high over here. And as we can see, this area of supply is just pushing price further in towards the downside. So what we can now see is a shift in the overall fractal structure, and now potentially further downside is possible. So how do we know that that further downside is going to come? Well, let's dive in towards the lower time frame. And why am I mentioning like further downside despite the 4-hour being swing bullish from this low all the way in towards this high? That is because there is no shift in the overall lower time frame market structure. Obviously, we have this kind of like descending wedge over here forming, but we need to see a breakout. We need to see that bullish momentum in towards the highs if we want to see any longs or any longing opportunities form. For myself, that is a break of this high over here. Until then, I just see the dollar or euro dollar trickling down lower. Now, going in towards the 15-minute, because that is obviously our main trading time frame, we did have some bullish confirmation over here after that 15-minute BOS, which we had. However, again, remember, if you watch my daily videos, we didn't really get any bullish confirmation in that leg down, right? I was, for example, waiting for the overall internal structure to flip bullish. So this was your internal structure upon a pullback. So push down, push down, pull back, but never like real bullish intentions. So what happened? We got a break of structure over here on the 15-minute. We pulled back in towards supply, and then we just continued in towards the downside. So the overall momentum was always bearish. Now, once again, we got a 50-minute BOS. What do you expect after 50-minute BOS? We expect a pullback. When do we expect a pullback? After a lower time frame shift in the overall trend. So what happened regarding that trend shift is that over here we got an internal BOS. So this is kind of like your internal structure down. We then break the internal structure up. We get a pullback exactly in towards this area of demand over here. If we just draw in a Fibonacci retracement, what you'll then see is over here, exactly the 618 Fib pretty much retraced towards this beautiful order block. And then from that moment onwards, what do we get? We get a shift in the overall fractal structure. So our fractal high was actually the high of this bearish candle over here. We break that fractal high, then we pull back in towards this area of demand over here, and that is the potential longing opportunity that you want to then take in towards the upside. So that was pretty much the trading opportunity that I saw on euro dollar. Overall, you're just trading the pullback in towards the highs, and obviously it is allowed as soon as price reaches the discount or the premium, excuse me. If we just change this to a premium versus discount tool, you can see that we're longing from discount, longing from that blue zone back up in towards that 50% mark over here. Obviously, there was still quite some liquidity free over or above this range. As you guys know, liquidity above the range. So we grab that liquidity above the range over here with these wicks, and then we start seeing a shift in momentum. Now, that shift in momentum came over here. So once we saw internal break of structure, so the overall internal structure was like up, down, up, and then boom, we got a shift over here on this low. Then what happened? Pull back in towards the highs. Obviously, this was not a candle close. The candle close came over here. So this was like the moment that we really got that internal break of structure. But over here, we already had a fractal break of structure. So that was an early indication that the overall pullback in towards the highs was ready after grabbing liquidity and pretty much pushing in towards supply. And then what happened is that we just pulled back in towards this buy before the sell, which liquidated the zone. So kind of like a liquidation zone, come in towards there and then see that further push downwards. Now, the internal structure is bearish together with the overall swing structure on euro dollar. So looking for further downside on this pair. So for now, just waiting for price to push up higher in towards this area of supply. I just have this entire buy for the sell range, wait for price to get in towards there, and then see a shift in the overall momentum, and then we will look for a potential shorting opportunity. So that's euro dollar for you. Now then let's head on into the Aussie dollar index, head over to the dollar index. So what is the dollar index doing? Ranging, not much to say on this pair. Obviously we liquidated the high, which I discussed also yesterday's video. For the rest, nothing much going on. Consolidating, so I can tell you guys, I expect up, I expect down, nothing much. Moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar has continued back down in towards the range. So that is the problem with these kind of ranges. Obviously we have kind of like the range low, the range high. This is pretty much what I consider the range low and the range high. So again, what you can see is we pull back exactly in towards that 25% mark, and then we start pushing back up in towards the highs. The difference is that we've already liquidated the high of the range over here. So I do still see some potential for us to react now to this area of supply and then push down lower, back down towards this range low. So for that, we would need to look at the 15-minute time frame. And then what's interesting on the 15-minute time frame for a fact is actually that the 15-minute has now shifted bearish. So the overall 15-minute trend was bullish over here. So this is like where you can take those longs in towards the highs. Then it shifted bearish. We got back a push down, then shifted bullish again. So again, longs from pretty much over here in towards the upside were perfect. So we get those longing opportunities in line with the overall 4-hour trend, because remember the 4-hour is still bullish. And then what happens, we see a break above the high, but it's more just liquidity grab, no real sustained push. And then straight away retracement. So that was kind of like an early tail sign that we might see a further push down, And remember, I drew in these two zones yesterday. However, no bullish reaction at all. So then I don't buy. I don't simply just set an order on that area of demand. No, I just wait for the overall market to provide me with the long opportunity based on a change in momentum. So now we've seen a change in momentum because the 15-minute has seen a BOS. So what I'm now looking to see is how are we going to react to either these zones or potentially this high probability zone with liquidation right below it. So let's see how the market moves in. Let's see if we get something like this and then some shift in momentum, or even a push up higher and then a shift in momentum. So that's what I'm looking for today on Aussie dollar. Overall, the 4-hour still just messy, but obviously we want to be selling from that 75% mark. That is why I'm happy to look for shorts today on that 15-minute time frame. So moving on in towards pound dollar. So what is pound dollar doing today? So pound dollar is not doing much, especially this pair. I'm just trying to stay out of it. I mean, looking at this 1-hour time frame, we're making lower lows and lower highs, but again, it's more just a liquidity grab every single time, kind of like liquidity grab, reversal, and then again underneath this low, liquidity grab, reversal, again underneath this low, liquidity grab, reversal. So it's very hard to really swing, swing any trades on this pair for now. So I'll just be waiting and viewing this from a distance. Nothing really that catches my interest, mainly focusing on Aussie dollar and pound dollar. Obviously, we're now at that 25% mark again. And then what do you see? We see a bullish reaction back in towards the highs. So the main focus for today for pound dollar is just to break out of this overall range. Or for the rest of the week, I'm waiting for probably FOMC to come, and then or NFP for price to really get a push either in towards the upside or in towards the downside, with preferably being a push in towards the downside due to the overall swing structure in price. So moving on in towards Kiwi dollar, so NZDUSD. What are we seeing over here? Obviously, we've seen further upside. So that's pretty much in line with what we expected. Obviously, this is now your new sell before the buy. Let me just delete the zones. Again, a very messy pair. But yeah, what we can see is obviously over here, we got a change of character. So this was the change of character high, this bearish candle over there, and then this becomes your protected low, this becomes your high. So then obviously we pull back in towards this demand zone, and then you expect further upside with the 4-hour being swing bullish. So that's NZDUSD. For the rest, 15-minute, what are we seeing? Not that much that I'm really interested in at the moment. Nope. So just focusing on the 4-hour. 4-hour looks good for further upside. However, just keep in mind we are still ranging. Moving on in towards gold, because gold had a big big move yesterday, exactly in towards that area of supply. So we tapped exactly in towards that area of supply over here, which we've been mentioning for a few days now. But again, very messy pair from what I am seeing. So main focus for myself is still euro dollar and Aussie dollar. Overall, maybe on the 15-minute time frame that you could catch some longs with the overall momentum in towards the upside. But again, I am not really liking this. We've already pulled back in towards this area of supply. Let me see. We did actually see a change of character, by the way, over here on the 4-hour, which I was looking for yesterday. So we have a change of character, so we could still see further downside. Commence after pulling back in towards this area of supply, and obviously also having made a overall 50% pullback, if I'm correct. Yeah, so we made a 50% pullback. So now looking for further downside and rejection from 2050 back down in towards around the 2K level /1980. So that's it for today on gold, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure to join Discord, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks.